Ahoy! Today let's make a classic, or at least my version of French onions. Now I know when you think French onions, automatically think French onion soup. Very true. But French onions can be used in a lot of different things. Just an example, I use them with blue cheese and stuffed mushroom caps, or with steak Diane or steak au pois, even just about anything. Use your imagination. Now, there are three main things that cause French onions not to turn out right. One is using too small a pan, too high a heat, and then not deglazing the pan properly to get all the rest of that flavor out of it. And the primary difference, or the difference, in sauteed onions and French onions are sauteed are just that lightly sauteed, a golden brown, and that's it. The French onions are darker, more caramelized, and sweeter. And a saute onion might take you, 8 to 10 minutes. A good French onion, cooked slowly at the right heat, will take you anywhere from 30 minutes to 45 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. But don't let that deter you. It's well worth the work. Now here's what we're going to use and how we put it together. Well, of course, we're going to start with onions. Now, I'm using a combination of just a regular yellow onion and a Vidalia sweet onion. I was thinking about adding a sweet white onion to this too, or you can just use the yellow onion. So we're going to do that. A little bit of pepper, just a touch of salt, and we're using unsalted butter for the saute. We're going to use the butter and some olive oil. Then for the deglazing, we're going to use a little bit of cream sherry. And for the chef, we have some red wine. Well, let's start by slicing our onions. And I don't like to cut them too small. I like to have a nice semi-ring to these. Now you could cut them smaller or even a little bit thicker, but for what we're going to do and the way I like to use them, this will work just fine. Now I'd like to have all of the onions sliced before we get ready to do our saute work, and preheat the pan. Yeah, just about right. And I cut the butter into smaller pieces so that it melts quicker. About the same amount of olive oil. Once the butter is totally melted, we'll add the onions. That looks good. And now I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit on this. And we'll let those saute. And I'll show you when we get to the saute point, what they look like. Oh, these are going to be good, but I'll tell you what, these onions are strong, making me cry. So I had to open my port window here a little bit. That's why I put that in over the galley for situations like this. Well, we've been 5 minutes on this so far, and you can see the onions are starting to get translucent, where you can see they're clearing up a little bit. Not quite done for saute yet though. This would be a light saute. And I'm not playing with the onions a lot. I'm not stirring them all the time. But here you can see now, I hope, see how we're starting to brown? So this is a medium saute. And now we're going to work on getting them to be the French onion. So we turn it down even a little bit more. Sit back with a glass of wine and let them do their thing. Now here you can see the pan is starting to get a little brown from the onions, and that's what's going to give this caramelization a chance. So we're just going to stir that every so often to kind of deglaze that from the moisture in the onions themselves, and that's going to help brown them more too. So we'll do this periodically. And on the saute part of things, the onions that we just did, that was only 8 minutes. So we got a little bit of time to go here for the French onion. And when I say a slow flame, you see how low I have that? Here's the regular. Just going to turn it down a little bit more. Just like that. Low heat. We're getting close. You see how nice and brown these are starting to get? Now you see how brown the bottom of the pan has gotten? What a lot of people will do is, once these finish up, they're just going to throw this in the sink and wash it. Now this is a lot of flavor right here. And when we pour the wine in, that'll all, well, you'll see. Well, we've been working this now for 30 minutes, and you see over 50% of the onions are nice and dark. So at this point, we're going to add a little bit of our pepper. And I don't think I'm going to add any salt at all to this. Then we're going to take, for this amount here, probably about a 1/4 cup or 1/8 of a cup. Let's start with an 1/8 cup of sherry. And you hear how that's simmering? That's because we're deglazing the pan. Now you're not going to get all of that off, but you're going to get the majority of it. You see how it's still a little brown there, but we got most of that flavor onto the onions. And we'll let that simmer a few more minutes. Reduce the sherry. And we're ready to go. And that's all there was to it, guys. And until next time, happy and safe boating to you, your family, and friends. And thanks for watching.